Hi everyone, this is my first talk and you are so many. I am nervous and I have tendency to speak really fast, so if I speed up, wave at me please. So today I'm gonna talk and try to encourage you to embrace 2D content on the 3D, initially 3D platform. So I've been working or playing around this VR for a year approximately. I tried A-Frame, I tried Oculus, I tried HTC, and yeah, my favorite is A-Frame. So I was thinking, how could I classify all existing content today? And I came up this diagram where everything is immersive media, and I can split into virtual reality and augmented reality. Unfortunately, currently, augmented reality is more stories and videos, which we can see on internet, where HoloLens developers are talking how amazing an immersive experience will be. The same goes for Meta. A lot of TED Talks from the creator of Meta. Magic Leap is the most magic out of them. There is only videos. They don't talk about the tech at all. The current existence, which everybody experienced, is the Pokemon Go, which you get the phone and you apply 2D content on the on a real 3D world. So that's the initial idea for this talk. And then virtual reality can be split in 4 categories, but this is work in progress, maybe more is coming. It's 360 cinema, it's a stereometric films, which is a regular 3D films, volumetric VR, and responsive VR. But before we start talking more, let's define what is a virtual reality. And for me, the key word, or the key in virtual reality, is that it's a 3D environment. It's the actions of the user which determine, and I can impact, I can destroy the world, I can affect it, and my input is as seamless as it possible. So by this definition, let's see if all what exists is actually VR. 360 cinema, you all seen, experienced most probably 360 cinema. This is the launch of the first shuttle by NASA. And the way it's made, the camera is in the center where will be the spectator, and it makes a 360 of its surrounding. The disadvantage of this technique is that you cannot go behind and experience the hours of the objects you see. You cannot see them in 3D, real 3D. So is it VR? Well, is it? And the criteria are: is it a 3D image? No, it's not. Does it? Can I impact the world in the pre-recorded video? No, you cannot. Can I somehow change the narrative? There is no way to impact the narrative. And is it immersive experience? And I would say yes. At least for me, it is. 3D films. This is an old friend which been around since middle of the 20th century. It's had its up and downs, 60s, 70s, it's had an uprise, and now it's coming back. This is Avatar or Gravity. It's very complex way of production and post-processing as well. So it's shot in 2D, and it has you need to have an image record, you need a perfect tracking of the all object and the rotor, which means the all volumetric data of the objects in a scene. So this is a scene from the Gravity, where the image on the right is the 2D tracking, and it's a 2D content, and the rotor is the spherical data of the all objects. When they are put together, this is the post-processed result of stereo view. So is this VR? The data is not a 3D, and we cannot impact its predefined story, and the view where we have to look is as well. But is it immersive? Yes, it is. Volumetric VR, this is a new, and everybody says this is the future of VR. Volumetric cinema is where the video is recorded, or object recorded in the video has a 3D perfect content. It's so, like, this is the example of the AI. It's the company who is doing the most in this field currently, to my knowledge. And they made the 3D volumetric video of the baby, and they have a lot of humans in the samples. The way it's recorded, so the object is in the middle, and the cameras are surrounding the object. So therefore, the image is 3D. The data inside is a 3D. Can I have an impact in the volumetric VR? I'm saying maybe because I show you only cinema, but there is as well all the VR games, and they are volumetric VR, whereas a free computer graphic defined 3D world where you can have everything is 3D. So yes, it is. But in the cinema option, you cannot impact the world. Therefore, it's no or alternate narrative story. In games, yes, of course. In movies, no, it's predefined by the movie producers. And is it immersive experience? I would say yes. So, re-evaluating again my... it's only last thing left to be really like virtual reality, and is it... So the last one is the responsive VR, which is the very new and very dear to me. I'm a web developer, I think as many of you, and responsive VR is a web VR. And since I am building web, that's where I can make an impact. And I feel that there is a little bit too much obsession or focus over is data 3D or data is not 3D. And I personally think is more about immersive experience and how do I experience, and does it look visually nice, and does it fit into the narrative story. So, nothing new under the sun. Cardboard and volumetric and the stereo images are dated. This is an example of of a stereo camera from the middle of the 20th century, but the first one was produced in 19th century. It has two lenses, therefore it shuts these two perspectives, and you have a stereo perspective in the frame. It has this is a stereoscope, which is a device to view the stereo images. This one is from the middle of the 19th century, and that was a big thing in the 19th century. There are famous painters who painted people looking at the VR, the stereoscopes and stereo images. This is a stereo card or stereogram. There is no one name for it. This one in particular is a Copenhagen, and it's a stereo data on its own. It's a shot. There's each lens. There's a camera I show you for. So once the card is put in the stereoscope through the lenses, your eyes see two different perspectives, and your brain is trained and naturally. It's a natural function for us to combine the images and produce the stereo. So stereo is only in your head, actually. So there are a lot of stereograms on the Flickr and other sources. Internet is flooded with them once you start looking for them. So there is a very hipster way of viewing them. It's the old device and the new mobile, or viewing them on a mobile phone. But the stereoscope to me looks so much like a cardboard. So some of you have seen the A-frame. And spoiler, sorry, it's okay. So I took the image I showed you before, and I placed it in the A-frame. I made a very primitive, basic setup where is one camera, a main plane on which I fitted the stereo image, and I put two planes which are perpendicular towards my face, so I have a correct eye separation once I am in the VR view. So I don't need to do any pre-processing of the image, I can reuse it the way it is. And you need 2 planes because of the rendering. It renders only one side and not the other one. Oh, sorry. So that's the view in the desktop view, the 2D. And that's the mobile view. As you can see, it looks like VR, like as what you see in the cardboard experience. And so it has the eye separation and the focus, and adding lenses on the top, you will have the correct point, and it will end up in something like this. So this is a manually process, but there are tools to do this. I'm placing one frame on another, and it's a GIF, and it should play. Sorry. So that's only 2 frames, but it's already, we start seeing the depth in the stereo and what can be achieved these more frames. And to me, moving images is movies. Can we post-process 2D movies into the stereo content, which towards 3D cinema? So there's this thought. I started a year ago, so there was YouTube was about to release its player, and Facebook, I think I started in March, Facebook released in April. So I found an alternative one which called WeAreDevelopers. Hope I'm saying it correctly. It's made in San Francisco by the research group. It's free and open. It's released under the Mozilla license, so it's free and open source to edit and redistribute. So they made a player to view the 360 videos where you can scroll, and it's in the player. This is a polyfill WebVR player, which is built on WebGL, 3GS, and JavaScript. But this is 3D. So what they do, they take a 3D video and they wrap it on a sphere, and they put the viewer in the middle of a sphere. So it projects, you are inside in the world, which is was recorded before. Since it's the since it is a WebGL, we have a full access to the on-screen rendering tools. So I made my own shader, and instead of having and wrapping, so it's unleashing, splitting the video on individual frame, and it's showing every frame on the surface you defined. And you can choose the speed. So the regular one is approximately 30 frames per second. So I took a 2D existent content and put in a player. This is my own shader. And no. I'm sorry, but it does run 30 frames per second. Something wrong with my local host. I will try to reload. So it's a very primitive player if we are comparing to YouTube or a Facebook one. It has only stop, play button, but the most valuable thing is a polyfill. So I can plug it into any browser and have my content displayed and playing. No, it's not. Anyway, so I can have it in any browser on any device, disregarding is it supporting the WebVR or not. It's most important that it supports Canvas and WebGL, and it's all modern browsers right now covering it. So this is a work in progress, what I'm showing. This is not they are not perfectly stereo. You can, like, some people can tweet tweak the eyes to start seeing. I don't have, I need to experiment more and adjust it to move the focal point. But to me, this is awesome. It's a way to share 3D experience cross-platform, cross-devices. So I will show you a bit of code. So they made their own player. It's a more wrapper. It's controls of the player and the way loading images. Frames. Then they implemented Phone VR. They have their own implementation of recognition if your device supports VR and accessing accelerometer. They use the WebVR to determine. Oh, sorry, I don't know. Yeah, that's the fallback for WebVR. Then they have a player, WebGL. It's not their own. It's an open source library which they extensively use for the doing the frame loading, the frame rendering on the surface. Then they have controls, utilities, and the GL matrix. And that's where my magic happens. I wrote my own shader. I won't go into the details. Anybody interested, ask me afterwards, but the shaders is the way how the image or image is projected on the 2D screen. Because even though we have this 3D world, camera is projecting it on the flat surface, and the shader is the one who is determining how your pixels will look on the virtual screen. So I encourage all of you to get your hands on this player and try, experiment, and see what you can make and how far you can get this. It? Yes. So why why 2D content matters? Because it already exists. It's tons of it, and it comes to at such a low price, even sometimes for free, and it's a high quality. It has a value in its origin. It's very unique. Some authors of the videos, they passed away, or actors passed away, or it has a unique feel of certain era or period in time. Less is more. Not everything has to be 3D to have immersive experience or to pop into the to improve our immersive experience. As I show Gravity movie, they don't put 3D everywhere. They put it in a certain scenes to amplify the narrative story. And it's a really good movie, Gravity. I encourage everybody to see it. Human vision. We don't look 360 constantly. We have this ability to turn around, and we have a peripheral vision, but most of us, we are looking in the front of us, and more or less, that's where is our focal point. So none of you is focusing behind what's happening behind you. Therefore, 360 video, some of the historical events, there is no way to time travel and bring your old 3D cameras and record it and then post-process, or you have to recreate some historical events. You don't have to do it. These are 2D content. You already can grab it, you can post-process it, and feed it into your VR reality to create some amazing historical events. This is a very nice narrative story. It's a storytelling tool on its own. And it's by setting up a constraints on yourself, sometimes you can bring more focus of the viewer where you want to look, where you want them to look or focus, because the current problem is the 360s is that, especially exploratories, there is no way to connect the narrative story because people start going where they want and look at what they want, rather follow my narrative story I want to tell you. So the most, yeah. Um, the most unique part of the 2D content and why I'm so excited about it is ability to bring past in the present. And like some examples, you can recreate a historical event as immersive experience on a cross-platform devices, which is web support. You don't need to have HTC Vive. You can share this whoever you want by click of URL. That's why 2D content is so important for web. That's it. Thank you.